Good day, everyone. Welcome to Tech News, where we'll be focusing on intelligent document processing, one of the key enablers for building out your hyperautomation strategy. I'm Harry Nicholson, one of the senior product managers at Blue Turtle Technologies, which is a leading South African enterprise technology management company. We've recently become the official go-to-market partner for Hyperscience, the developer of next-generation intelligent document processing solutions for enterprises. Partnering with Hyperscience strengthens Blue Turtle's strategy to deliver leading intelligent automation capabilities that will enable our customers to accurately capture, classify, and extract critical data. Joining us live is Nayar Jatula, VP of EMEA for Hyperscience, to explore and discuss the key benefits of AI and machine learning incorporated into an intelligent document processing solution. Welcome, Nay. Straight out the gate, we've been hearing the buzzword hyperautomation and how this is quickly becoming part of enterprises' automation strategies with the incorporation of AI and machine learning to augment human processes. Gartner predicts hyperautomation as being one of the top tech trends for 2021. And they say, and I quote, that by redesigning operations and using hyperautomation technologies can lower operating costs by 30% by 2024. We know RPA is an integral component of building out a hyperautomation strategy, but we are seeing a bigger role now played by intelligent document processing. How do you see the role of advanced technologies such as AI and machine learning and impacting the current hyperautomation engagements?
Harry, good morning and thanks for having me. Really good to be here. So that's a really good question. If you think about it, the automation market is in a phase of disruption. What I mean by that is as new vendors and new technologies are slowly emerging, what you start to find is that the legacy solutions such as robotic process automation and character recognition software are no longer enough. When you start to look at what organizations are really looking for today, the technology stack when it comes to data is sort of taking a shift from your traditional structured document, which we can sort of talk about what that is in a second, to more semi-structured and unstructured documents. So just tracking back to those 3 points. A structured document, which is really more what organizations typically look at in the, historically, is we know what we're looking at and we know where it is. And now they sort of shift more into sort of the more complex solution documents, whereas we know what we're looking for, but we don't know where it is, or we know what we're looking, or we just don't know what we're looking for. We need your help to help us find it effectively. And a good way to give examples of those is on an unstructured document, you're thinking of a letter. And a semi-structured document, it could be invoices. As we know, the data we want from invoices are always the same, but they're always in different places. So when you start to look at these legacy platforms, like the robotic process automation and the character recognition platforms, what you find is they struggle to keep up with these because they are very much rule-based platforms. They have been historically told what to do and when to do it, rather than sort of to learn and to think for themselves. So this is where intelligent document processing fits in, which we all talk around the buzzword IDP. And where intelligent document processing can really come in is because these tools are built on technologies such as machine learning and machine learning and artificial intelligence, as well as natural language processes. They think differently and they look at things in a very different way. You could almost argue the case that they start to think a little bit closer to the way humans do in terms of how they've been built. So with that, they can start to complement these legacy platforms. So we're not saying rip and replace them. It's really more, okay, you've got a technology stack in place today. You've got data sets that you're trying to really get into your organization, but your current technology is not helping you do that. So how can we sort of marry these two technologies together really more to complement each other to help you get that value realization you're trying to get downstream when you're processing these documentations? So that's typically where IDP sort of starts to fit in, is really more looking at those difficult type of documents and that data that's trapped in documents such as PDFs scans, a scan of a scan. We've all got smartphones today. Normally you just take a picture and you send it to somebody. So how can we start to get that data out and help these legacy technologies really do what they're built to do historically?
Interesting. Well, the numbers definitely support that. The IDP landscape has grown exponentially in the last year at a rate of 50 to 60%. In your view, what have been the drivers and challenges that customers have faced that have led to this remarkable growth within the intelligent document automation landscape?
So if you think about it, Harry, today, organizations globally today are spending around $60 billion a year in order to consume and extract data. I mean, that's a momentous amount of money. And you've got to ask yourself, why? Why are they doing this, and what are some of the challenges they're facing? If you look at what the problem statement is data exists outside of the organization, and when we talk about data, we're talking about documents, effectively. So that could be they come in multiple forms: PDFs, scans, pictures, a scan of a scan. It could be an email format. And really, what organizations are trying to do is they need to take that data and they need to extract it, classify it, and then take it downstream in order to deliver some form of an end result for a customer or for a critical internal business processes. Today, the problem is typically some organizations are doing this either manually, which involves a lot of people, or they're using some legacy platform, which we discussed in an earlier question, which is robotic process automation or a character recognition software. The issue with some of these things is they are role-based solutions, so they're struggling with the complex data that the organizations are looking to extract today, because they fall in that bucket of semi-structured and unstructured is typically what you start to see. And in particular, these could be handwritten documents, which these legacy platforms were not really built for when it comes to extracting the data. So you have a mesh of solutions of people, legacy machines trying to do this. And as we know, humans are not perfect and neither are machines, so you start to get a lower level of accuracy. And then when it comes to automation, which is really what we're talking about here, there is no level of automation. So it's costing time, it's costing money, productivity, efficiency. And overall, if you're processing an insurance claim in an insurance company, and if the claim is wrong, it has an impact financially and from a reputational damage on the organization. So if we start to look at it, these are some of the key challenges that people are looking at. Is really more cost reduction, customer experience, and also really more value realization on data that they've got that they can't really do anything with today.
You're engaged with numerous global 2,000 companies around the world. What are you seeing as the key benefits customers are experiencing in the field as a direct result of intelligent document processing? So I want to group this, or I like to group this into sort of three key categories. And I kind of covered it a little bit in our previous question. So point number one, I want to talk around cost savings. Then it's the customer experience, and then the final point is really more, the informed data-driven decisions. So if you think about cost savings, everyone is trying to do more with less, and it's really more, what are the key things that we can do in terms of driving down the costs associated with manual data entry? And how can I sort of free up my team or my division and get people to do more meaningful tasks rather than the manual data entry? So from a cost perspective, it's really more, I want to do more with less is the point I would take from that perspective. Then moving on from that, we look at sort of customer experience. We're in a digital era. Right now, the days of us being the vendor and versus the customer is over. Now, customers are now judging us in terms of not just on price and features and functionalities, but they're more judging us in terms of actually how their customer journey has happened. Give you an example use case. If a customer comes to you and your insurance company, you make a claim. If it takes over 3 weeks to get the claim back, that's a bad customer experience. What happens? You're going to lose that customer, and they're going to move somewhere else because they've had a bad customer experience, potentially. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen, but that's a potential use case. So how do we improve the customer experience using solutions like IDP? And that's why customers start to look at things like this and the benefits they're going to get from it.
Finally, the final point is really more the value in the data that they already have. If you look at organizations today, because they're using legacy platforms alone, they're failing in terms of realizing that value that they have from the data they have, which could help one, increase customer experience. Because they're not able to get it because of the cost associated with it and the time associated with trying to get that data out, they're not doing it today. So having a solution like IDP helps drive and improve that. And these are some of the key benefits that we're hearing from a lot of our customers today. I'll repeat it one more time. It's around cost, customer experience, and data-driven decisions.
Interesting. With the advancement of AI and machine learning capabilities, organizations are turning more to automation solutions to help assist alleviate the painful challenges they have around manual processing. But with new technology comes new fears. What are some of the pitfalls and challenges that organizations should be aware of when looking at initiating or embarking on a new automation journey?
So, Harry, I think there's a few things that we should be mindful of, and my advice would be to at least look at these things, not particularly in this order, but this is my recommendation, is one, get all the right and the key stakeholders in early. I think that's some of the biggest pitfalls I've seen in some projects is not having the key stakeholders involved early. And two is really more focus on the initiatives that is going to get you the biggest impact in the shortest amount of time. This will also help you scale up. And most importantly is really more set achievable success criteria. So define how you're going to measure success and then set those goals.
That's a good point. As with any new endeavor, you'll need to choose metrics to measure and communicate progress. Are there any metrics that you can recommend enterprises that they can use for the success of an IDP implementation project?
Okay. So that's a good question. In my opinion, the best measure of success should really relate to the impact to the business long term. And these typically would include metrics such as service delivery impact, customer satisfaction, and also revenue growth. But the most important thing is really more to set achievable goals that yourselves and your team can really optimize and also learn from.
Thank you. We've seen the accuracy rates average around 55% in the capture arena, with enterprises having to choose between automation and accuracy. How do you see IDP filling that gap?
So many organizations feel that they need to track the percentage of the number of processes that they automate today. What experience is typically shown is that this sometimes can be a recipe for disaster. After all, what is the purpose of having 90% automation if you need to redo 50% of the work? You shouldn't really have to choose between accuracy and automation. And at Hyperscience, we really, really believe that if you have to go and redo the work that a machine has done, it's just not automated at all. You should not have to choose at all. So when looking at an IDP solution like Hyperscience, you're able to set the level of accuracy from the get-go. So if your SLA within the organization is at 99.5%, you should have the ability to set that level, and you know that you're going to get that level of accuracy, and out of the box, day one what automation you're going to get. So for example, at Hyperscience, we pride ourselves in saying out of the box on structured documents, which we talked about in our previous conversation questions, you can set that level of accuracy, and we will give you a minimum 99% accuracy from day one with a minimum of 70% automation. And as we talked about, humans will always still be involved in here. We're not saying we're getting rid of humans at all. What we're saying is really more we're going to improve efficiency, improve throughput, improve customer experience.
Looking at South African enterprise market, where do you see IDP bringing the value to organizations?
So I wouldn't just limit it to the South African market. I think we've got to look at it on a broader scale, because this is a problem that we're seeing across the globe. So I would say industries and organizations that are struggling with very, very large volumes of document that needs to be manually processed would benefit from solutions like our IDP. This would be something within sort of the government, financial services. the insurance market, healthcare, and you can even broaden that out to manufacturing and retail as well. These are the types of organizations that would benefit from using the IDP.
That's great, thank you. What are some of the key elements for organizations to consider when embarking on a new automation journey? In other words, what sort of processes are you seeing that are best suited for IDP?
So when embarking on a new automation journey, organizations should really look around areas where they have a large amount of volumes of documents. These areas will typically have a number of people manually working on these processes, from keying the data to classifying the documents. You would normally find this in your digital mailroom, your HR onboarding processes, your claim process, and maybe even account opening, and that's a typical good start.
In my experience, many of the processes that you've just listed require some form of human in the loop. How do you see human and machine cooperation in such cases?
So there is no silver bullet for automation today. Humans are not perfect, and neither are machines. So any solution today, whether you're looking at IDP or a legacy platform, is still going to need to have humans involved in the process. And any program and any solutions that you're actually looking to implement, you should really be asking the human for help at a certain point, or programming it to ask for help at a certain point. What do I mean by that? If you look at Hyperscience today, we probably talked about this already, is you set the level of accuracy that you want. That's your SLA. So this is a non-negotiable accuracy that your organization needs. So once that's set, the machine is always going to want to work to that level. But at some point, because we're using machine learning, its confidence level might not be high on certain fields. That's when you have your human intervention, where the machine says, hey, look, Mr. Human, you've asked for 99% accuracy. Because you've asked for 99% accuracy and I want to make sure I hit that accuracy, there is a certain field that I'm struggling with. Can you help me, Mr. Human? This is when you start to bring humans in, and how you bring humans in when you start to looking at an IDP solution is really more, you don't compromise your accuracy and your automation. You have humans involved to actually help you achieve that level of accuracy and level of automation. So the way you look at it from an IDP solution is really more, we're not replacing humans. It's really more, we're now augmenting humans and machine together in one streamlined process.
Thanks, Nay. Talk to us about Hyperscience. You've recently secured $80 million funding in Series D round, bringing a whopping $190 million in total. What sets Hyperscience apart and attracts the investors?
So, Harry, what can I say about Hyperscience? I feel like you put me in a spot here. So, I would say we are the leading machine learning platform which automates the most complex business processes today. And when I talk about complex, we're talking about the complexity within a document. So handwritten document, cursive text, a scan of a scan. And what really sets us apart is it's not just about being a leader, but it's really more how we do it and how we achieve these results for our customers. So within that, we have sort of the best in class when it comes to extraction capabilities. So when it comes to handwritten documents, we're one of the best in the market. But the rapid time to value for our customers is probably one of the biggest things. From day one, we can give you between 70 to 95% automation on day one, and that's a pre-trained model on some of the documents that we work on. In addition to that, it's really more deploying in your own infrastructure. So we do it in cloud, but if you think about the sensitivity of the data that you're looking for, it's best having it in your own infrastructure that you control it. And then the final point is really more, it's built for the business user. If you start to look at some of the legacy platforms today, you're going to need a number of people to start to code it before you can start making the changes. So having that ability where it's a no-code or low-code platform for business users, and you can sort of train the trainer, really makes a huge difference when talking about efficiency gains, cost reduction, and really more repurposing people within an organization. So we really think about it from that perspective.
Thanks, Nay, for your informative input. I'm sure our viewers have gained valuable insight into automation first.
Harry, thanks again for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here. I'm really looking forward to us doing this again. Thank you.
To book a call with one of our IDP experts, visit our URL in our post-feedback survey. This brings us to the end. Harry Nicholson, signing out from Tech News for today. We look forward to catching up with you at our next broadcast.